Hello everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is August the 22nd, 2024. And I want to say a big hello and welcome to all of you, both returning viewers and any new viewers that might be out there. And I am coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, which is southwestern Ontario, almost the southern tip of Canada. And I like to talk about what I'm working on, finished objects, things I'm in progress, working in progress, and plans that I have of items to make. And I also like to talk very much about yarn, and mostly hand-dyed yarn. So if this is something you enjoy to hear more about, please stick around and please consider the thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button and watching my video all the way through. All of those things help in the algorithm, and they don't cost you a thing. And I am glad to have you here with me today. We don't have a lot to talk about. It's been kind of slow in the finished object department, but I do have a couple of things to talk about. And I have yarn acquisitions today, and that should be fun. So I always start with what I am wearing, and honestly, can't tell you what the pattern is. It's a very simple and straightforward pattern. I'm trying to decide if I do know who did this pattern, but I really don't. But by the feel of it, I have to guess that it is Oasis Fingering by Expression Fiber Arts, because it feels very silky. I almost would have said it was alpaca silk decay, but it is thinner than alpaca. It is thinner, much like Oasis Fingering. And Oasis Fingering is camel and silk. And I absolutely love Oasis Fingering. And as I said, it is an Expression Fiber Arts yarn, or EFA, as you will hear here. And for those that are new, this back wall is EFA yarn, and this section up here is all Oasis Fingering. And I can't wait to get using more. There aren't enough hours in the day. I don't have enough hands to get everything done that I'd like to get done. And right now I have a lot of items going around, swishing around there in my head, just wanting to get out. A couple weeks ago, you saw a number of the things that I have planned, and already haven't even got started. I barely got started on one, but already I got sidetracked, and that happens to me quite a bit. So to start off, I want to thank someone for the happy mail. Isn't that just the cutest little card ever? And this was a card from Bonnie, who just wrote to thank me for a prize that she won. She got some hand-dyed yarn in the mail and wrote to say thank you. And I think that little guy is adorable. So put that aside for now. I like to start, I guess, with finished objects. And the first object I only have a picture of. I warned you this would happen. And I'm going to I'm going to take a drink is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a picture up here. And this is the poncho that I finished. This was an item requested by a friend, and it went in the mail earlier today, so it can get there in time for her birthday. So if you would like to see the actual item, she might even model it. You never know. That went in the mail to Diane at My Pink Bathtub Knits. So you can probably go over to her channel next week and see her opening it or modeling it or something. But I know she's celebrating a birthday next week, and I really wanted to get it in the mail as soon as I could to be sure that it got to her. She's one province over, and I'm pretty sure it will get to her in time, but you can never count on the mail. So I finished that for her, and I hope she's happy with that. And I do have another finished object. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I told you the next thing I was going to do was work with my squares. And in the end, my squares were too much. Oh, I have my little friend wanting to come up here. Here, whoops. Come here. Come here. There's my little friend. Can you say hello to the people? Yeah, they always like to see you. He'll sit here for a minute or two and then move on. I got very frustrated with my squares. I wanted to make a scarf with them. I told you that's what I decided on. But one of my things, my foibles, I guess, is that I don't too often make items where I have to join squares, and especially small ones, which I'm setting myself up for failure later in the fall because I have a project in mind with pieces. But for some reason, it just wasn't working. I got two squares together and they did go together pretty well. Although I have to tell you, I didn't care for the method. I didn't feel good about the method, although it looked fine when I was done. And I could see that I was going to have this wobbly mess. And I don't know why. It was back then, over a week ago now, when I was getting frustrated and not happy with it. So I decided that I wasn't going to make a scarf, that I was going to be frogging a whole lot of squares and making something smaller. Now, I kept the first square attached to the second square, but decided to make the second square smaller. Well, I attached the one square, what I call backwards, because when I decided to frog it a little bit, I'm frogging from the wrong end. You can't imagine the mess I was making of that and the things I tried. I even cut part of it. I don't even want to begin to try to explain the mess I had. But I eventually got it, ripped out, frogged back, whatever, to a starting point where I could take a strand of yarn and run through the end stitches to keep them on something so they wouldn't come out. And then from there on, I decided to do single crochet for a row or two, and that would be my base to then do the other stitches. So that's why I have one wide square in the back. See, this is one complete square. Then the next section I went on to do was this one, which is the one that I tore part of it out and then eventually got it stabilized so I could go on. And I went on and did. So this is the spiked sedge, and this is the triad. And then I went on to stitch onto it. This is the herringbone, and this is the puff moss stitch, and this is the double crossed stitch. They are not all the exact same width. I didn't measure things. And this finally is the Suzette stitch. And then of course I had to join them again, and I used the same method that I used on the other side, but on this side it came out very flat. This one it didn't. But before I joined it, I did block it, and I wish I'd taken a picture, because when I blocked it, I was able, see this? I was able to get a nice straight edge all the way along and keep them all the same width, and it's a straight edge on the other side as well. It looked really, really good. But then where I joined it, I mean, it's still pretty straight, but not perfect. And as you can see, I still have the ends. I have to do something on that edge to pull it together. I still have the ends. I'm not sure if I like this or not, and I will talk more about this in September when the due date comes. But it's a cowl. I don't know. My inclination is to rip the whole thing out, be done with it, but I could use the yarn for something else. But anyway, I have made a cowl, and I used all 6 stitches. I will weave in the ends, I think, and maybe I'll take it to market. It might sell there. I mean, it feels very nice, and it will be very comfortable on somebody. I think it just looks weird with all the different stitches. But anyway, that's that. So I did finish that. But in the process of finishing that, I needed a break. Like I told you, I was very frustrated. It wasn't ripping out properly. I was doing everything wrong. And I said, I need to step away from this. So I decided that I would start the shawl. And I'm quite sure you remember that for the last 2 weeks, we had a discussion about the yarn for the shawl. And should I use this color or that color? And then last week, we realized that I needed both colors, because I needed 5 skeins, not 4 skeins. So I decided that I would start that. So I did get started on it, but I didn't want to get engrossed in it, because I knew I had to get back and finish that. I was not going to let it lay until September, and then it would never get done. And if it didn't work out what I was doing, I might have had to start all over with a project. So I didn't want to leave it very long. But I did start on this, I think it's called Awakening Shawl by EFA, with the bamboo alpaca. And I just got this much done. Turn it that way. I just got this much done, which is the first unit of it. It, whoops, I'm going to be losing a stitch here. I should have had a marker in there. It uses a 3.25 millimeter hook. I have never used a hook that small. I think maybe way back once I might have used a 3, but this is a 3.25, and the only one I had was a Furls wooden one, and it tends, for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's wooden or if it's me, but it does tend to catch this yarn, split it kind of, but it catches it. This, by the way, is Heavenly Feeling. It is, I don't think it's 50-50, but it is bamboo and alpaca. For some reason, I'm thinking it's like 70% bamboo and the rest alpaca. This feels so silky, so heavenly. And of course, it's quite fine. Even though it's fingering, it's a very fine fingering. It just feels so delicate and beautiful. But it's going to take some concentration working on it. So I only did the first part, which was a chart. Thank very much. I really enjoy charts. And I will get back to it, possibly at the end of this week, and make some real headway before you see me next week, I hope. So this is what I started to work on, and then I went back. See, the yarn is catching. Then I went back and finished up that summer cow. So while we're on the topic of the summer cow, once again, I want to remind you, the pictures need to be into me by September the 8th. Must have your name, must have your location. You should list for me the stitches you use. You must use a minimum of 4 stitches out of the 6. Some people are using them all. I mean, I used them all. And one I got just this morning, she used them all. And that's okay. You can use as many as you want, but you can't use less than 4 of the stitches. And please list for me which ones you use. And I would also like to know, which stitch did you enjoy the most, or do you think you might use in the future? Just interested to see what you thought of them. So just remember, the pictures have to be by September the 8th. And in the subject of your email, please write summer cow. Summer cow. And while I'm talking about that, let's also mention the August Mal. Keeping this all straight, if you're a newcomer, I'm sure this is very confusing. But we do an inspiration bird every month, a very bright colored tropical bird, and people make whatever they want using the colors of that bird. And those pictures have to be to me by August the 28th. So they have to be to me by next Wednesday, before the next video, because I will start putting them together in a slideshow for September the 1st. And again, your name, where you are, and if you used a pattern for what you made, we appreciate knowing the pattern, because I often have people tell me they really like something in the slideshow and they're going to go and check it out or do it or look it up. So that's all the housekeeping things I needed to tell you. And like I said, I got started on this in the middle of my summer cow, and then I went back and I finished my summer cow. And while I'm working on my summer cow, my mind, of course, is going all over the place. And I got in my mind to try something else before coming back to this shawl. Some of you may have heard, if you watch Nina, I'm sorry, Lynanne. I always want to call you Nina. You're not my Nina. Lynanne at Needin' Knots Crochet. She's very involved in the Boggy Creek Blanket Brigade. And she announced a few weeks back that they put out a call for creators, YouTube creators, to design a boggy blanket and share it with the community. And at the time I was intrigued to do it, but I don't think I'm the most creative person. I'm very good at picking colors and crocheting items and even making alterations, changing it up. But coming up with an original idea isn't always my forte. But I thought I want to give this a try and come up with something. So my mind was working, and I came up with an idea based on some yarn I already had here in the house. And I decided to design a boggy blanket. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to tell you where my mind was going and how I came up with this. And I am quite sure I will have it done for next week to be able to show you. So, first of all, I am using red Heart, Super Saver Ombre. I'm having a real problem with my throat. In 4 different colors. And I'll show you the others in just a minute. And my thinking was, well, you don't want anything too fancy. I mean, we're making these for kids. And I think if you've been around for a little while, you know how much I really like the Granny Merge shawl. In fact, if you look way back, probably in my first fall, I once did the Granny Merge shawl in 3 different yarns. Was it 3 different weights? I'm thinking I did one in worsted or DK, and I know I did one in fingering weight. And I think like one was busy and one was solid or tonal, probably both in fingering weight. I just really like the pattern, and it is very adaptable and easy to do. And I do use that pattern often for some of the shawls I make for our donation box. So I thought, you know what? There's no reason I couldn't adapt the Granny Merge shawl into a Granny Merge square. And there are several ways you could use it or things you could do with it. But this is what I decided. Here is, and this is the one I like the best, here is a Granny Merge square. Get back and see, you can see the whole thing. And I like this one the best because I was fortunate enough to start with the right color, the dark. I wanted to go dark out to light. And this happened to do dark to light. And it was just getting a start to turn back a little bit dark over here. But basically it's light all the way out. And I have this yarn in 4 different colors. So I decided I would make the squares small enough that I could put 2 side by side. So I did one in all the colors. Now here's the purple one. Now what I didn't like about the purple, this one was a gradual change. But this one you can see right there where it all of a sudden goes from the dark to the light, just all of a sudden. But there again, I actually had to take this out and do it a second time because the dark was going all the way. So I had to redo it and get rid of the middle part and start again farther along in the yarn till I got dark working out to light. And there's no smooth transition. Then I used the, I don't know if you call it green or teal, and it started dark to light, but the light was very short, and then it started going back to dark again. So I have these 3 finished, and I've started on the 4th one, and again I had to take it out. I was about this far, and I took out back about 3 rows and discarded the middle and started again. So it's my hope that I am very soon going to get into the light that will carry me all the way to the outside row. Then I decided it would look a little nicer with this extra, like I was just going to border it in black, but then I decided, you know, I'll put a little extra detail. I was keeping close track of the measurements, and I decided to do a little more. Again, it's better here to do another row, keep going, and another row of black. So now I'm going to take 2 squares, these 2 over there. I'm going to put 2 squares together like this. As soon as I finish that blue one tonight, my next step will be to join these 2 and to join those 2. And then I'm thinking, I wouldn't mind your opinion, if I do everything the same in both directions, I'll have a square. And that's okay. But I really, when I picture a blanket, I picture it a little bit narrow, a little bit longer. So this is going to end up, because once I join it, eventually I'm going to have to do a border row or two, and it's going to be right around 38, 39 inches across, and it has to be between 35 and 40. So it will be under 40, but I don't want it that short. So my thinking is at the bottom here, once I join the two, is to do a few rows of black back and forth, and then join the other two below it. Maybe I'll even do a good section of black in the middle. I could always do an extra row or two at the top and bottom. And then I'll go around the whole thing in black once I have all 4 colors together. So I wouldn't mind hearing your feedback on that. Do you think the extra black is a good idea? Or will it look silly? I really would like to make it a little, because I can go up to 50 inches in length. My thinking is if it's about 38 or so wide, and maybe I can do 45 or 46 long, is kind of what I was thinking I would like to try. So that's what I've been working on, and I'm going to finish this whole thing probably by the end of the week, and I will show it to some of the people in the Boggy Creek Blanket Brigade and see that it's what they're looking for. And if it is, then they require that you do a tutorial on the blanket. So is this the kind of blanket that you would like to see a tutorial on? Because I have no problem with doing that. I hope things will work out. So that's what I have been working on. That's my whip, and I'm this far on the dark blue, and I hope real soon it turns light, and I'll go from there. So that's what I'm working on, and when I get this done this week, I will go back to the shawl using this yarn and try to finish it in the following week. Before I move on to something else, I'm thinking that I need to start getting busy on making some of the items that I want to have in my fall market, which is in November, but it'll be here faster than we know, and I need to make some things like ponchos for sure. I would make ponchos. I also want to make those. I made one that is a bandana with a cowl that goes right up like a hoodie. I want to make 2 or 3 of those, as well as a couple of ponchos. So that's what I've been working on and what I plan to work on. And I have a whole lot of shawls I want to get done. And when I'm in my shelves, I see a whole lot of yarn that I want to get to. So let's make a few more days in the week for me. All right. Next thing I want to do is talk about yarn acquisition, because I did tell you that my monthly subscription was coming, and I'm going to start with the one that I have been doing for quite a while, and that's the one that it comes from Color of My Fiber. And as usual, I got some stitch markers and a sticker and some tea. I just send them out to some of you because I don't need the tea. And here is the yarn, and once again she had the merino silk cashmere, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, 75% merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk. She had that back available, and it feels so yummy. I had to ask for it. So here is, now, spoiler alert, if you get the monthly mystery yarn from color of my fiber, then you might want to look away if you haven't got yours yet. I get mine very early in the month, and given that she's in Quebec, I get it, in 4 or 5 days. Now it's whatever. I'm not taping on the 22nd. I'm taping earlier in the week. So some of you, especially if I know there's 1 or 2 in the US that order it, you might not have yours yet. So I'm just warning you, spoiler alert, I'm going to show you what I got. And here is the yarn. Now I could twist it all up so you can see how it looks. It has kind of a creamy pinkish base, and then it has speckles throughout it that are, I would say, mostly a burgundy wine, but there's just a little bit of rusty brown, but mostly it's burgundies. I quite like it. Feels heavenly. It always does when I get this base. Her regular base, merino nylon, is usually $32. And for those of you in the US, that's probably about $25. But I pay a few dollars more. I don't know if it's 34 or 36 to get this. It's worth it to me to get silk and cashmere because it feels so lovely. So I have to at some point dive into that bin of her yarns I've been getting since December. So this is 9, this is 10 mystery skeins that I've gotten from her. I will definitely keep it going to the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to evaluate if I want to keep on with mystery skeins or a subscription box, or maybe I'll find another subscription box to do. I don't know. But right now, I am really enjoying this one. I'm getting colors I wouldn't normally just order. I haven't disliked any of them. But I have to tell you, I'm still amazed that, excuse me, after 10 of these, we still haven't gotten blue or purple. I can see why, maybe not purple, but blue, that's a pretty basic color. But anyway, I'm going to keep going for a little while. I got 4 more months of the year, and then I'll make a decision. So that's my mystery skein from Color of Your Fiber. By the way, any companies I mention, any YouTube channels I mention, it'll all be in the description box below. So now if I can get this together, there we go. Okay, so I'm really quite happy with that. I could probably easily find a burgundy type to put with it. It is pretty. All right. Now, the other thing I told you was that I had gone back and signed up again for Adam's Mini of the Month. And I saw what Lynanne got on her channel last month, and I decided I like those colors. And you know, honestly, Lynanne, please tell me, I don't think, my recollection is that these are exactly the same colors you got, but I don't care. The colors I got, I am very, very happy with, and I'm going to keep getting it because I've decided I've given away a lot of minis, and I put together a mini packet for an exchange I'm going to do. So I'm quite happy to get some more minis. So here's what I got for Adam. These are the July ones. He said the August, we were worried about them arriving, and he had already sent the August, and we were worried the August would get here before the July ones, but nope, they're here. And his always feels really nice and soft, so wherever he's getting this yarn, it is good. So here's the first one. I guess I could twist them up. I like looking at them open. And it is, it's a nice pink, a soft pink, very pretty. I do like it. Now, Adam always does the subscription box is 2 mini skeins, and you're going to get one that is solid and one that is variegated. I thought, Adam, maybe sometime we'd get one that's speckled, just speckled. That would be interesting too. But anyway, I really like that color. And next is a busy one. It's not real busy, and it has a little bit of speckling in it, but it's variegated with a little speckling. And here it is, sort of a burnt orangey pinks into a wine, more pink. This is more orange, a dab of green, and into blue. I have to tell you, this is very soft yarn. And I know it's a merino nylon mix, but this is the variegated one for the month. I'm pretty sure these two were the monthly selection, but when I'm ordering from Adam and is coming overseas and making the shipping worthwhile, I always ordered 2. Now, the first time I ordered 2, I asked him to double up on his monthly subscription just because I wanted more of each color. But I decided, no, I don't want more of each color. I want more colors. So I ordered 4, and I got 4 different colors. And here's the next one. Again, a solid. I really like this. My kind of color. It's pink, but you might say it's fuchsia. I don't know. It's bright. I really like it. This would be gorgeous next to a navy. That would be gorgeous next to a navy. That's a combination I really like. So there's that one. That's the solid. And there is also a variegated. Now this one is very, very variegated. It has speckles in it too. Huh. And here I am suggesting you do speckles, and he already has speckles in him. But I guess I was thinking just a plain solid, like white or cream or gray with speckles. And here is the last one. A lot of purpley with the pink, of course. And in here we have a speck of yellow and little bits of green. More green over here, but predominantly a blue type with the pink. Very, very pretty. And it goes very, very well with this last one. Don't they look good together? And you know what I would like to see? I would love to see maybe a solid in this bluish color, and a purple with it. I hope another month you do some more that go with these solids, that go with this speckled, some greens and some blues and some purples. But I think this could go, how did I have that? I think I had it this way. Variegated, solid, variegated, and solid. I'm thinking I could get away with putting all of these together, but I would definitely like to see some more that went with this, and these two with that would really fill it out. Oh, that looks good too. See, that color of blue in a solid would be great with it. I don't know. Here I am speculating on everything that could go together. And I'm sure, well, I know Adam has sent out his August already, but I'm just sort of planting some seeds for future months. These 3 definitely I would put together. Not sure about this one. It's much paler. It goes with this. I'm not sure with the others, but they really do feel nice. So I'm going to hang on to all of these, and I'm going to keep them in one box. And as I keep getting more from Adam, and I am getting 4 every month, 4 different ones, we'll see if the colors that keep coming go with it. Now, he did tell me there is some yellow in the August one, but Adam is a dear. He said he picked through to find the one with the least amount of yellow in it to send me, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. So there is my monthly subscription from Adam, and I'm going to keep that going probably to the end of the year as well, and then I'll evaluate what I'm going to do about monthly subscriptions. Now, I have one more acquisition, and then we'll be done. I think I mentioned that I made an order from a yarn company in Italy, and it was just one of those off chance things. I was probably browsing, and it was in Etsy, and I came across this group of minis that appealed to me. Minis have really, I'm going to have to start doing some projects with these minis. And while I'm saying that, I want to remind you, I have a link in the description box, every one of my videos. It's a link to a bundle in Ravelry of patterns. There are 2 links. One is a link to crochet patterns, and the second one is a link to knit patterns. Now, there's probably only 30 or so knit ones, but I know there's 60, maybe even 70 crochet patterns. So if you're looking for ideas for minis, you'll find it in the description box of all of my videos. So here is the yarn I got, a bundle of minis, and it's from Snail Yarn. I have a card here. Snail Yarn. It actually, she's got a website, www.snailyarn.com. I'm sure I got mine off of Etsy. She sent me a sample to try of a different kind of yarn, and of course, a stitch marker. And here are the 5 yarns. Now they're each 20 grams, so this is the equivalent of a full skein. So we have a pale blue and a peachy pink, more peachy than anything. There's a gray one, and there's a green one, and then there is a purple or violet colored one. And I think you can see they are all tweed. I do like tweeds. They have a kind of rustic look to them. And this yarn is 87% Peruvian Highland wool and 13% viscose. This, the different colorway names are Malva, Eucalyptus, Corteccia, Terracotta, and Fumo. They are a little bit more rustic feeling than your normal merino nylon blend, but I think they'll make something nice. And I don't know, I have a tweed black, and I wonder about making something bigger and putting this with that. What's your opinion of putting the black with it? Otherwise this, it's only 400 meters, 437 yards, not going to make anything really big. But if I add in this one, which is a merino Donegal, and this is DK. Okay, that squashes that idea. I guess I could go back and look. I got this from Fireweed, or I could go to Polka Dot Creek. They also carry tweeds, and find a tweed that is fingering weight, because this is definitely a fingering weight. So maybe I go looking for something gray or charcoal or black to go with these. Even a dark brown would look good with it. But anyway, that's my last acquisition for this month. Now, yes, I made this acquisition and I definitely do the monthly subscription. But other than that, I have really been pretty quiet about making yarn acquisitions for the last several months, because I said this is my year to shop my stash, and I do a stash down episode at the beginning of every month. But I was sitting there after my big frustration and whatever, and looking at patterns, and I was thinking and saying, I haven't made a really good yarn purchase, and I just feel like making a yarn purchase. Making a yarn purchase makes me feel happy, and I enjoy collecting yarn. I enjoy having lots of choice when it comes to, making a project. I have lots to look at and pick from, and I'm getting ready to put together pretty soon my 2025 monthly mal, and I'll need lots of yarn colored choices. And I said, I feel like buying some yarn. I'm going to go on a spree. So part of that was a result of getting my weekly email from Ravenswood, and I try not to look too closely at it, but this past week I did look closely at it. And since I haven't really looked at it in, probably 2 months, I saw quite a few colors I liked. So I did make a decent sized purchase from Ravenswood, which will be here to show you next week. And I made another, I think only one other small order. I decided to go back and order the yarn that I did not get at Knit City Toronto, and I've been holding on to the card, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to lose it, so I'm going to go and make my order of 2 skeins of yarn from them. So we will have, and that's a Canadian company as well, so they're likely both going to be here for next week, so we will see some yarn. And I'm just reminding you, for those that were listening last week, I will mention it again this week, and this is the last time I will mention it, that next month, special month, the special month of a birthday as well as a podiversary. So remember that special word, birthday, to get in on some silent prizes, okay? Only those that were really listening last week and again this week will know to do that in September. And I have several plans for September. First of all, probably I will have in time, because it is in the mail, I will have that special box from EFA for the crochet along they're doing, and it's one of those things that opens regularly. So I'll probably be able to show you the yarn the first week in September. That's the 5th. And then the 12th of September, we will be doing the slideshow of your summer projects with all the stitches and my ridiculous project. And then on the 19th, my plan is to do a focus on a designer, a crochet designer. I'm not going to say who until it gets here, but I think on the 19th, that's what we'll do. And then on the 26th, which is a few days after my birthday, is when we'll do really, the big celebration, and I'll spin wheels, people will win prizes and whatever else. So that'll be what carries us through September. And I just want to give you a little heads up that in October, I have ordered one of these. You can't call it an advent, but that's what they call it, is a Halloween, 13 days of Halloween minis that you open regularly. Last year, for those that have been around, you will remember that I did the Clue game last year, which gave me minis to open every week. It gave me a pattern to use the minis in. And of course, we had clues to solve the mystery. That was a U.S. company. They weren't doing the same thing this year, and I didn't want to buy something from the U.S. As you know, I'm being very careful to buy Canadian. It's much cheaper for me. And I did find a company that was doing a Halloween themed box, and we will do that in October. So lots of things coming that should be some fun. And all going well, I'm going to have my Boggy Creek blanket done to talk about that next week. At least I'll have one finished object. I used to have several every week, but as you know, life has turned very busy here. But I had the next 2 weeks off, no obligations other than, you know, my regular hospital visits. And I'm going to use the next 2 weeks to just relax and crochet. So I hope you'll be back next week to see what I accomplish in my next quiet week. And until then, happy hooking.